call to order the Board of Selectmen meeting. It is still June 27th, and the time is 6:36. All right. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the Treasury warrant 22-W26 and payroll 22-PW26?
So moved.
Whitman seconds.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, I excluding safe place.
Whitman, aye.
And Benoit, aye.
Motion to approve the minutes of June 13th, 2022,
13?
as written.
Whitman seconds.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, I.
Whitman, aye.
Benoit, aye. All right. Do we have anybody here for public comment? Yes, sir. Please stand, or you don't have to stand, but state your name and address.
I'd rather sit. My name is David Gold. I live at 4 Phillips Road in Rutland. And I wanted to speak briefly about the cell tower proposal that's before the zoning board. And it's been ongoing for months. I don't know how much you followed it, but there's been a very interesting new development that I wanted to just let you know about, which is that 6 weeks ago, the board hired a company to peer review the report that AT&T and the cell tower builder have proposed and look it over. And one of their jobs was to search for alternative sites, because it had been asserted that this particular site, which is right in the heart of the town and within 200 yards of the middle school, and in a close to a neighborhood of which I'm part of, it's caused a lot of consternation. There's a lot of bylaws that are being stressed by this proposal, and this was supposedly the only place that AT&T could have their improved service. This independent engineer checked out many places, including one that the board chairman suggested, which was up where the water tanks are, which is about the highest part of Rutland. And he came back 2 weeks ago with a report and suggested that that is a very viable site that would improve the carrier's service to the town center, which is their goal, but it would be less objectionable, more out of the way, and it would be placed on an existing structure, which is one thing the bylaws really prefer. And just in general, there's just many advantages. There's roadways that don't have to be cut into. There's not any foliage that necessarily has to be cut down. And but the most important thing is that it's on town property, 132-acre parcel, and with the town being the lessor of the tower, as opposed to one individual, it could really create a substantial, significant income stream. For an example, we found that the town of Auburn has recently been getting payments of $10,000 a month for leasing out space on their water tower. So we're sort of at the 11th hour, but I hope that the board, and I know you don't really have any oversight or anything, but if you can encourage the board and encourage AT&T to look at this alternative site that was suggested by this engineer and work something out, it would, I think, create a boom. I mean, a significant income stream, which is, we want the money. We need, we shouldn't have to shoulder the burden of a cell tower in our neighborhood, and then with all the profits going to one entity. It should go to the town. And this engineer has verified that this is a doable project. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, it's fine.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Gould?
Thank you.
Thanks for giving us the information.
Yeah, thank you for the update and good luck with their pursuit. Okay. Any other public comment?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm on Zoom and I don't have the ability to raise my hand.
That's okay.
Is this an okay time?
If you can
Sorry.
identify yourself and give your address?
Yes, Carolyn Streeter, 11 Meadowbrook Circle. And to follow up what David Gold was saying, I would just like to point out about the cell tower situation that in 7 months of zoning board hearings, not one single person, not one single resident has spoken in favor of the tower. Many have spoken in opposition to it. And at this point, we have collected 375 signatures of Rutland residents that are opposed to the tower at 12 Phillips Road. They're opposed to it at 12 Phillips Road. From what I understand, the zoning board does have legally permissible reasons to deny this tower, such as property devaluation, aesthetic impact, bylaw limitations. At one point, there was an issue with the fall zone, and in which case insufficient fall zone came into play. And so, with so much opposition to the tower, and no support for it, and reasons to legally deny the tower, I would just like the select board to be aware that the zoning board did indicate at the last hearing on June 15th last week that they are positioned to approve the tower in 2 days at the next hearing on Wednesday the 29th. So that's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mike Sullivan, I live in town. I just have one comment about the public revenue stream. I've been on our RDIC for too many years to remember, and I would be willing to bet not many of you know where the tower is that the RDIC contracted with on Route 68. And over the period of time that the town has leased that tower, the town has, I don't remember the exact number, I don't know the exact number right now, but I'm going to say that it's somewhere in the magnitude of $325,000 to $350,000 that the town has gained by that cell tower being there. And again, you probably don't even know where it is, and I don't mean that to be a negative. Nobody knows where it is because it's out of sight and out of mind. If Mr. Gould is right, and it can go on top of the water tower, you don't have to build a structure, you don't have to put a road in, you don't have to put power in, you don't have to cross wetlands, and there's already there's a structure there to put it on. So I certainly would encourage you to support in any way you can the town having an opportunity to gain that revenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Dick Williams, Overlook. I had two, but first thing I'd like to ask DPW if I can have his permission to try to keep a drain clear on Wachusett Street because it's killing the trees in the swamp. And I would like to see the water get the heck out of there. If the town can't afford anybody to swing over by there to clean it once in a while, I'd be more than happy to try to do that. And
If I may, is that the one near like 120-ish, the backside of kind of across from the solar fields, heading down to the intersection that way?
heading down, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the backside of the Jordan
Yes.
fields.
Correct. Yep. And it's to the point where the trees are starting to lean also, so it's getting kind of time to do something before we lose everything in there.
Is that everything, is that separate from the, are they all set with the other thing?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a new issue?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
this
it's
is public
public comment, so
Oh, okay. We've been there several times? We have a
Yes, you
beaver
have.
problem.
Pardon?
We have a beaver problem. It's not structurally blocked, it's not, we have a problem with the natural occurring beavers. It's not structurally unsound, we free it all the time, it's beavers.
I kind of gathered as much, but, try to clear the stuff out of there to keep the water flowing would be,
Okay,
that's the only thing I'm asking, if you
we
would
do
like.
that. Regularly.
All right.
But if by means of example, if the beavers are really active and we knock it down tomorrow, it'll be back up the next day.
Yes.
So do we have someone to go and clear it every day? No.
No.
Would it be best if the property owners considered probably trapping the beaver? That may be a big help.
Trust me, I already know
Yeah,
because I've been down
can't say
Pleasant
that
Park
out
with the
loud.
same problem.
All right.
You gotta go to the board
All
of
right,
health.
and my final thing is, right at the moment, RDIC has a forester looking over their properties for logging. I've asked them if it's possible for them to take a look at Rufus Putnam to give me an idea if it's worthwhile, because down there is a lot of timber that probably ought to be coming out of there because of the age of it. And right now, the price is pretty decent, especially for veneer, and also any good pine with no knots in it, no limbs. It's a good price. And he may also be coming over to see Joe, and maybe he'll come up to see Gary too about any other properties that, if this is the time of year or something that's worthwhile, perhaps maybe the town should look into it. For forestry cutting. Because it's been a long time since I've been down to the, behind the water treatment plant there.
Any idea on other sites, Dick, or you just talking
Oh,
about?
yeah, well, I told them there around the reservoir you have a place. Also, your 70 acres plus where Mr. Sullivan's cell tower is, 68, that should be, because he says there was a lot of veneer up in the back. And that's where I had brought up many months ago about a rec field way in the back up there, because it's fairly level. But to me, for crying out loud, it's worthwhile to have the forester take a look and see if it's worthwhile and what to come up with.
You talking about Kurt?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right, I'm familiar with him, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to him many times, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have to pay him?
Okay.
Would come out of the logging.
Any final comments?
We don't pay.
Okay, thank you all. At this point, I'm going to call the public hearing meeting open. And the public hearing is to discuss Dolce Vita Catering Company, 24 Palmagussit Road, for a liquor license for the sale of all alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption. I think you're from there.
Yes, thank you.
Nice to see you. I was asked to return this stuff.
Thank you, sir. Paul Cranston, representing Dolce Vita Catering Company, and also Elena Viapiano, who is the owner. And I assume all of you are aware, they're renovating the old Grand Slam Cafe and are simply looking for the liquor license. And from what I understand, I think you have all of the paperwork that we submitted, and it's all up to snuff. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
What type of business exactly? Like, what's going to...
It's going to be a commissary kitchen for our catering trucks, as well as a function room, so to hold like birthday parties, people can
Okay,
rent
so
it
more
out.
of a functional, not a...
And then potentially a restaurant down the line. Obviously, everyone knows employee staffing is
Mhm.
not great right now, so we don't want to open a restaurant and get stressed
Right.
when the catering is doing really well.
Sure.
And Tamika, you don't have any concerns with any of the paperwork, inspections, anything? No. Thank you very much.
And if I may,
Yes.
I don't know off the top of my head, we had this conversation before, how many liquor licenses do we have
I
remaining?
think this makes 2 remaining.
No, we still have 3 for on-premise, and I believe 2 for off-premise.
Okay,
I just got the numbers updated as of June 1st, so
Yeah.
we're still well within it.
okay. Thank you.
Does somebody make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the liquor license for Dolce Vita Catering Company.
Second.
Any discussion?
There's another vote.
All right, roll call.
Galvin, aye.
Wait a minute,
Benoit, aye. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That was the easiest thing we did tonight.
Have a great evening.
Thank
How you doing, Paul?
Excellent, thank you very much. Thanks for all your help.
Alright. And do I need to close the meeting?
Yeah, we should have closed it before we voted, but that's
Okay,
okay.
sorry.
We need a motion to close
Thank you.
it now.
Motion to close.
So moved.
Roll call.
Bye-bye.
Galvin, aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit, aye. I'll get it. Sorry, guys. All right. Next is department head updates and recreation.
Oh, sure. Okay. So I guess the last time I was here was in April, right before the Easter egg hunt, so I'll kind of start there. We had our egg hunt back for the first time since 2019. Seemed like we were back to full capacity, even though we were only able to run out of the wood studio. So probably had 200 people there. So that was a bit challenging, but we couldn't use the community center. Usually we would do like a big event with crafts and snacks and activities and games, things to do while people waited for the Easter Bunny pictures and all that. But we just kind of like made do, crossed our fingers, hoped for no rain. It all worked out, and we had a great time. The pictures came out adorable. We had some puppies show up for pictures. That was super cool. So it was a good day. Brings us kind of like through the end of the school year. We finished up our after-school activities. We ran a quick session of after-school theater programming, which was really fun. The kids really loved. And then the instructors that ran that wanted to do a summer camp, but that didn't get off the ground due to lack of space. We were planning to rent space at one of the churches, but by the time we got the certificate of insurance that they needed and figured out and everything, all the staff had kind of moved on to other things. So we had to put that on a back burner, maybe next summer. But I keep having people asking me when we're doing it, so I don't know, we'll see. I might be crazy enough to do a session at the end of the year, end of the summer. But again, space is always our challenge. It's just the way it is, so it kind of hamstrings a lot of things that we do. The pool opened up relatively seamlessly. We didn't really have any issues. We have plenty of lifeguards, knock on wood. We start swim lessons. We have about 400 pool members. We start swim lessons on July 11th, and we'll have to do those for 4 weeks. We're coming up, we're running a water safety instructor class, so we train, we'll have, I think, 3 of my staff, and then maybe 6 others that will receive Red Cross water safety certification, which everybody knows swim lessons are a huge priority for me, just because drowning is the 3rd cause of death in kids 5 to 14. Swim lessons can cut that risk down. So we put a high priority on that. Most of our swim lessons are full already, or close to full. I think we have like 1 session with a waiting list, but we do all 6 Red Cross levels, 1 through 6. So. We did receive, I just found out today, I received a grant for $2,500 from the Attorney General's office, their Healthy Summer Youth Jobs Grant. So that is to support summer employment for young people from 14 through 21. So we actually apply that to the swim lesson program to help keep the cost low. We haven't raised our prices on swim lessons in the 7 years that I've been here. So we try to do everything we can to keep those costs low, encourage lots of participation. It's only $65 for 8 swim lessons. And the instructor ratios are pretty low, so you're getting a quality lesson from that. Let's see. What else do I have going on? Camp is going good. We have, like today we had 98 kids in camp. It was awesome that it rained on a Monday. 98 kids. It was super fun. But we got through it. It was fine. We are, I'm constantly challenged in what I can provide to the community, because I spend a good deal of my time kind of like chasing down my supplies wherever they might be in the world. They keep getting moved, they're put in shipping containers, they're taken from where they belong and put somewhere else, they're stacked on top of each other. I've now paid multiple staff on 3 separate occasions to move supplies and equipment from one place where we're not using them to another place we're not using them. I've showed up on multiple occasions to get things for a program and found that they had been moved somewhere else without my knowing, that we've had space completely taken away. The Board of Health has been told that I've been on a tear about getting my closet in the community hall back, which I had to assure them that wasn't the case at all, because I understand why they have that closet. But apparently they were told that I was, kind of like going crazy about getting that closet back, which I understand why I can't have that closet back right now, and I actually have never mentioned it. So that was distressing, but I dealt with that with the Board of Health by letting them know that I completely understand why they have that space and I don't anymore. But then, we come to the loss of the one storage space that we have at the community center. That has become extremely problematic because with the movement of the shipping container back behind DPW, now all the stuff in the shipping container is back in the basement of Town Hall. So we're kind of like, even though we had kind of gotten ahead of it and started to move things, now we're kind of back in the middle of a pile of stuff in the basement of Town Hall. So it's just a constant battle and it's very frustrating. Where I worked before here was the YMCA, and at the YMCA, everybody, I was part of several capital projects, so I went through a bunch of capital training programs through the YMCA, and the biggest thing I learned there was the space is the program, and when you look at recreation, we have no space, but somehow we're still creating programs for hundreds, probably thousands of people, from basically infants all the way through senior citizens with nothing, basically. So that's kind of my summer update. It's clouding my summer, even though things are in general going well. It's a lot of stress on myself. It's a lot of stress on my staff when they can't find what they need, and they never know, it sounds like a small thing, but we're missing a big stack of laundry baskets, and those. It sounds silly, yes, I could just go to Walmart and buy more laundry baskets, but when I don't know they're missing until the day we go to use them, and suddenly they're not where I left them last time, that's an issue. So a small problem is a big problem. So my whole, summer has been small problems turned into big problems. So that's recreation right now. But the programs are going great, and my staff is great. And we're looking forward to it not raining tomorrow.
Through the chair, thank you, Karina. You do a lot of work. I've seen you out there in the dark getting the pool ready.
I am, yes.
So-
I was accused of stealing chlorine one night when I was there to shock the pool after dark, but it was not.
Yeah.
I'm there all hours.
That's
for
something
sure.
as a town we have to move. We have to figure this out. I mean, there's such a demand for
Yeah.
recreation.
Yeah.
And
We have
there's just no
30
space.
kids on a waiting list every week of camp. All 9 weeks have a waiting list.
And if I may, to kind of piggyback on what you just said, Tom, recreation is self-funded. I mean, this is not a program that is taking any money from the levy. It's all self-funded and has repaired a lot of things, has kept the pool going, which is a town asset, has, updated playground stuff, has provided repairs at the community center, and it's people are willing to pay money to participate in these programs, and there's a need for more programs for all ages. And I've had a number of even seniors that have reached out looking for additional recreation program because their experience, timing, whatever through recreation just has been their preferred route. So I think that it's definitely a huge mark on us as a town of this size with so many families that we're not able to provide space for clearly a need and a want in town.
I did forget one thing. I was just looking at my notes. We are also running a summer basketball league. Again, because I might be slightly off my rocker, but we decided to take that on just because there's not a lot for middle school age kids, and we're taking all of the money from, because it's kind of like an additional program we hadn't budgeted for. We'll take all that money and put that into the basketball court. That basketball court hasn't had any upkeep since Luke Inwood passed away, and his family did a fundraiser and put some money into it, so we'll be looking for community input as far as like what people want. That basketball court is so heavily used by, you know, young people who just don't have a lot of other options, so that's another thing I forgot to mention. Sorry.
And I see a lot of all ages up there shooting hoops and playing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know. Yeah, we've got like little kids
and yeah.
Hang in there, Karina.
Thanks, Karina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karina, for everything. And Kerry.
Hi.
Hi, Kerry.
So we've got, you know, stuff going on, summer reading. We're doing a summer of kindness, so we're not really, you know, the kids have to read through school anyway. So we're just asking kids to do nice things. We have envelopes that they can take out, little kindness acts, you know, help your mother put away the groceries, you know, sweep the floor, make your bed, things like that. Just little things that kids can do to be kind of cognizant of how it all happens. I have a teen advisory group, and they started some sunflowers, so we thought we would pass those out and, you know, to ask people to take them. That is the flower of the Ukraine. So we thought that would be, you know, a way we could be kind to them without really being able to do much for them. We have a stained glass window coming. I don't know if I spoke about that last time, but the Cultural Council granted us some money for a stained glass window in the front of the library where the kids section is. So we're excited about that, and we're hoping it will be installed by December when the Smithsonian comes, because we get a lot of exciting things happening here at the library this year. Because of the Smithsonian through the anniversary, I met the mayor of Marietta. That was really exciting. He gave us the key to his city, which was pretty cool. That was really fun. That was nice. He was a really nice person. We have a project starting on this building July 5th, 6th, and 7th. They're going to replace the 3 heating units on the roof. We're taking Tuesday, July 5th is our holiday, which will work out really well for those guys to come and be traipsing around here disconnecting whatnot for the roof units. But we'll be back again on Wednesday. And I did give them my cell phone number. If they need me for anything, I will be available. Joe reached out to a plumber for some plumbing issues I have, so I'm waiting to hear back from him, but that was only the end of last week, so I'm not too worried about that happening. We have a big truck event in this parking lot Tuesday, July 12th. Various departments are bringing some of their really awesome equipment so we can have the little kiddos go and check it out. My children's librarian, Aislinn, she has some food trucks coming so that we'll make kind of an event, which will be nice. What else? We also now have a game night. Every 3 weeks on Wednesday from 6 to 7:30, we invite the children in to play games. We also buy them pizza so that their parents don't have to worry about, you know, rustling up some food for them before they get here or feeding them when they get home. So, you know, it's slow starting, but it's kind of fun. We feel really good about those kinds of things that we're doing. The unity tree is upstairs that the kids all made in school. We'll keep that here until somebody decides they want it somewhere else. I think it looks pretty nice up there, and it will bring a lot of attention to us this summer with the kids in school, because every child in Rutland, I believe, made a pipe cleaner decoration for that tree. So we're hoping they'll bring their parents in and search for their ornament. That'll be pretty awesome. And we also have a nice little display for Rufus Putnam as it relates to Marietta, Ohio, and the tricentennial. You know, we have staff, you know, I don't have staffing issues anymore, but we always have money issues, but we managed to get through, you know. I'd like to see us educate the community a little bit more on how things roll here, because I think a lot of them don't really know what goes on until there's an issue that pertains to them. We talk about these things at our department head meetings, that we really need to try to get the community to understand exactly what our dilemma is, because we really don't have the manpower to do what we're supposed to do in this community because we don't have the funding. Through just how it is. This is the way it goes. But anyway.
I know that we had talked about getting education somehow, whether it's, you know, film recordings or
Right,
something.
right. Well, the town of
question and answer.
Marblehead has a program, I believe, and I really, I learned about it in, probably the March of the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic, right then. So I really have some designs to get up there. Of course, Marblehead is beautiful anyway, but I would like to get up there and actually see exactly what they're doing and how they're rolling it out, because I think it's important that the citizens understand exactly what happens with our budget process, how the money is divided, and where, you know, where it comes from and where it gets distributed, because we, Rutland employees, miraculously deliver an awesome service to this community all the time, and they know it, and we know it, but it's not always easy. It sometimes means some of us have to work a little bit harder for these folks, which we obviously love doing.
I was going to say thank you, Carrie. I know you've been doing a lot in the Rufus Putnam. You know, you came in when you were closed to meet with the mayor because his schedule was all messed up and everything. So thank you for that, and the work that everybody did to put that presentation together and everything was great. So I know it's a lot of extra time and stuff. So thank you. And I had reached out to Carrie about restarting that education piece. I said probably connecting with her after the 4th. And hopefully we can get going for like end of summer, beginning of the fall, working with her and the trustees. So
great. Perfect.
Anybody have any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
That's the biggest one.
Carrie, have you seen an increase in the number of kids coming through, or about the same, or?
Well, it's been interesting because, of course, I'm a tyrant. I want people to wear masks. July 1st, I know I have to back off, but that's okay because I'm trying to keep the community safe. So we felt that maybe people wouldn't be coming in, but they have been trickling in. The kids are dragging them in to see that tree. The kids are in love with this library, and that, I think, is the driving force. So that helps us. I mean, it's interesting because we recognize mothers and fathers through their children, because sometimes it's dad that brings the child in, and when they bring mom in, we get a little thrown off, but we recognize the children, so it's pretty cool, I think. Because the kids are in love with this library. They really, really are. You know what they do? They cry when they have to leave. So I tell them, don't worry, you can come back, please come back.
And one other, if I may, do you see a lot of adults coming in for internet access or anything like that? I'm just trying to figure out all the different needs that we're hitting. Like,
some people come in to fax some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have fax services. We have printing services. Some people come in because they need to print a label and they don't have any toner. So we get a variety of different things. Some people just need to check emails. Some people need to fill out job applications. Some people just need to print up a job application. It's a variety of things, and we try to just address whatever it is and make them, if they leave empty-handed, I'm like, what are you leaving for? Please, come back. You came here for something. So we want to make sure that the community gets what they need when they come here to see us.
Through the chair, do you ever rent that space out downstairs, any of the offices or rooms?
Well, what we do is when we built this library, the selling point of this for the community was the meeting space here. So nonprofits have access to all of the meeting space. They just have to fill out a form and request the space.
But you don't make any money off nonprofits, right?
No, we don't make any money, but some people are very generous and give us some donations to, a contribution toward the space because they appreciate the space. The Lions Club, very generous to us.
Is there any consideration of opening up to
Well,
try and make a little profit?
Then you gotta get somebody who's gonna be the event planner and figure it all out, which, if you ever looked at my calendar, Tom.
Well, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying it's a nice space.
It is a beautiful facility.
And it's a shame to just have it most of the time empty.
Oh, there are over 500 meetings in this facility without me counting what goes on in this room. Just so you know, this is the busiest building in the town of Rutland. I'd stake my life on it. The volume of people that came through here when we were vaccinated, when the vaccine clinic, we literally had 5,000 to 10,000 people coming through here each month.
Oh, I remember.
Madness, but it all worked out.
Yeah.
The community gets this facility. They really do.
Excellent. Anything else from the board?
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank
Have a
you
great
very
night.
much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ken.
See you.
And the town administrator updates.
Okay, I just have a couple of quick things, and others that are on the agenda for new businesses where we'll cover the rest. But a couple of meetings ago, maybe it was just last meeting, we talked about looking into the possibility of shuttle buses for the 4th of July, for fireworks, July 3rd. Well, I did that. I made a trip down to AA Transportation, got some facts and figures. I found that the price of 3 buses, 2 of them which would hold 55 adults and up to 77 if there's more kids, and another that would support the elderly and/or handicap access. So the price for 3 buses for the hours of 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. on July 3rd was $1,020. I thought that was more than reasonable. I thought that it would help and alleviate the traffic congestion downtown. I did meet with public safety officials, and they told me they could handle that without additional personnel as far as directing them where to drop and what loop to make. We went over all the loops. Unfortunately, I did reach out to first the 4th of July committee, and they rejected that idea. And they asked me to get a hold of the 300th, which I did, who also rejected that idea. So I did Tamika let Pat down at AA that, knowing that it was on the agenda for tonight, and I would contact her tomorrow. So unless the board finds another way to go through with this, tomorrow morning I will call and cancel that request.
How much was it? What was the price quote? Sorry.
The total for 4 hours for 3 buses each was $1,020.
And was the rejection from those based on cost? Had you gone to those, to the 4th of July and the 300th asking them to fund, or?
I didn't even get to that point, although I was going to, because, because there's money available. But they just weren't interested. They thought it would do more harm than good, from what I've seen, as far as unloading the loop they would make, which part of the loop, one of the loops was to go down 10 Rod and come up at Prouty and drop them on the right side of the bus on the corner of Prouty, Main. And another one was to go again down 10 Rod and come up Memorial, which I did talk to, again, public safety, which they would help them get out into traffic and let them keep moving for the entire period. And another was, I'm talking to the fire chief, another was to come up Main and make their loop right in front of the public safety complex. So we had 3 viable, successful routes, I thought, but it was just shot down by both committees.
Gave you no reason for the chair?
No, all they said, it was from the 300, they said it was not something the 300th wanted to touch. The 4th of July said they're not interested, nor do they want to get involved. We don't think it's a good idea. So that's all I have. Everybody knows what downtown looks like the 4th of July after talking with public safety.
Right.
I thought it was, I don't even remember who brought it up, but I thought it was a great idea, and I looked into it, and I was very satisfied with the price. I thought that was very reasonable, so.
I wasn't, I don't know what their rationale is. And if they've cleared it through if you've cleared it with public safety, but my concern is still just having kind of school buses drive through on that the craziness of that night. And if it was more like shuttle vans or something versus, you know, full-size school buses, that, but I don't know. I mean, I agree the price is good and everything, but I don't.
Yeah, it was two full-size buses and one smaller bus. It wasn't, so 4 or 5 buses, it wasn't that. Obviously, they wouldn't be all coming up at the same time, so they would have a successful loop.
Right, no, but
Okay.
I'm just, you know, I think in my head, when I heard shuttles, I was thinking more like smaller, like transit van, like the smaller WRTA van that
Right,
parks over
right,
there,
right.
you know, that size or something versus a full-size school bus.
Which are available, same price, but they are available. It was up to us what we decided, what we would want.
Right.
But it's the same price for the big bus versus the van and smaller bus. Yeah,
Right.
same
Well,
price.
obviously the smaller buses hold fewer people. I don't know, you know, I would imagine kind of there's going to be peak times, and I imagine that middle time probably isn't going to see as much volume as far as people wanting to go.
Yeah, I think there's fireworks at what, Seth, how long?
9:20.
40 minutes?
They should be about 40 minutes this
Yeah,
year.
40 minutes, so. So you would have had them being shuttled up from 7:30 till probably 9 or so,
Yeah.
9:15, if it is that much time, then waiting till they were over and taking them back, so.
I guess I have a question, Seth, since you were in on the conversation. Like Leah, I just see both sides of the road is parked, and you've got 2 lanes going, packed, mostly at standstill. I don't even know how you'd get a bus out into, and then even if you got them out into the traffic, it'd sit.
Right.
And
That-
go
that
about
would-
as fast as everybody else is. So I think it's a great idea. I'm not sure if that on that side of town. I was thinking more down, you know, the schools, either all the way down to Glenwood or over to Naquag, maybe deeper into the property over there. I guess
Well, that
that's
was
what
a
I was
plan
kind
from
of thinking.
Glenwood. That was the
Plan was the park.
All the way down to.
Yeah, it was to have a community center at Glenwood
Okay.
drop off down that path.
So that you were just talking about the route, not drops off
Right. It just,
in Prouty and.
I think it's a logistic problem. We don't have a real natural loop to make
Right.
without causing, the traffic's just
And
out of control.
And I know even on non-tricentennial post-pandemic years, those neighborhoods are parked full on both sides.
Mhm.
So for even, you know, a small compact car to get through the neighborhoods is tight with people going every which way. And so to add a larger bus, even if it's a transit bus or something, I don't know, I can't speak for the 300th or the 4th of July. I love the idea of it, but my hesitations are it's crazy and the roads become super narrow as it is, and is it, I don't know.
Well, I think that the two committees have said no.
Right.
I think if the board wanted to take it on and
No.
do it regardless, then that's, I think, where it lies with us. But if we're not looking to do that, then thank you for the update. And we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Thank
unless
you.
we like block parking everywhere, but I don't think we have the capacity to do that,
No.
you know.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yes.
Thanks for all the work on it.
Yes.
Wasn't, no, that was, got me out of the office for a little while, so. Anyway, the second thing I have back in, I want to say April, the Finance and Board of Selectmen approved the position of Deputy Director of Rutland Regional Emergency Communication Center. So, with that, I am here to recommend the promotion of Phyllis Chartier to that position. Good employee, been here forever, and Michael certainly has some other things about her and to say about her, including grants that you received to.
Yep.
Okay, so if you don't mind,
Yep.
Mike.
So Phyllis Chartier was the single applicant that applied for the position. She's more than qualified, meets and exceeds all the requirements that were set forth in the job description. She has 30 years of experience, with 13 of those years being here in Rutland. So with that being said, she was the perfect candidate to assist me with my daily activities. And we just recently were awarded the $70,000 for the upcoming FY23 fiscal budget. So that whole salary is going to be reimbursed for FY '23, as well as my salary also was fully funded as well. So that's another $160,000 that my budget will be reduced this year. But for next fiscal year, the position is fully funded, again, from the State 911 Department.
Excellent. Fantastic news, thank you.
Thank you.
So the chair, so this is, Mike, this is a new position?
New
This is a
position.
new form?
Yep.
And what's the main purpose of this?
Main purpose is to assist with the administrative functions that I deal with day to day. So it's 90% administrative, and the other 10% would be operational if need be, working the desk. If there was a vacancy during the day shift, that person would fill in. So we're not accumulating overtime on day shifts. Currently, someone calls out, we're posting for overtime. So this would be a third person on duty. If one of those our minimum manning is 2 people per shift. So in the case that one of the other 2 people call in sick, that deputy director is able to step in and take that position for the day, reducing my overtime costs as well. But mainly grants, payroll, reimbursements, there's a whole list. But mainly to assist with that while I deal with the grants like the tower in Hubbardston, the tower in South Barry, and there's a few other ones that just were awarded in this last grant cycle that I have to start up as well.
Okay. Michael, that'll be effective immediately.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, Michael, Mr. Moriarty made Phyllis work the desk tonight, so she's not able to attend. But please congratulate her for myself and the board. And thank you very much for the information.
Thank you.
The rest, like I said, for the chairs, the rest of my items we can discuss during over new business, I'm sorry.
You don't need a motion to do that?
I don't think you need a motion to, no, we're not taking a motion, no. Would you make it if I did?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, thanks.
You're just appointing, and that's in your authority to.
He likes to grumble.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna kick you. Oh, we're gonna board between us now.
All right, the next on the agenda under new business is a one-day liquor license for Baked Bakery for July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Is there anybody here from them, or?
Well, they were just here.
I thought so, but, what is the license for? It's probably on the paperwork, which I don't. What is she doing? Where is she doing it?
It's for the 4th of July activity, so she's going to be up in the center of town with a food truck.
Perfect. Can I get a motion for
Motion to
that?
approve a one-day liquor license July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for Baked Bakery.
Second.
I have a question, just for both, because we have another one coming up also. And we've already approved some for that weekend also, correct? So, I know at one point there had been concern as to how many could be supported at the activities. And so
Yeah, thousands of people there.
that's,
Yeah, we have 2
So
here
I wouldn't
tonight,
even
right?
worry about, even if every vendor there was selling beer, whoopee.
that's what I was wondering where if there was plans where they would be set up. I assume there's,
That's 4th of July committee's problem, not ours.
okay.
Not ours. They don't want us to shuttle people around, let them take care of their own problem.
Are they working with the 4th of July, Tamika? Thank you.
Okay, yep, these came to me through the 4th of July committee.
Okay, all right, that was gonna be my next, I guess, kind of.
So my question is, should we also
Yep.
since this is part of the 4th of July committee events?
I think we did the last,
We did, right?
yeah.
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 So that one, should include that too.
Roll call vote.
Can we amend the motion to waive the fees?
Well, I'll make the motion, amend the motion waive the fees. I don't know why we're doing that,
I know.
We have.
because it's not a nonprofit.
Right, how much?
Nonprofits, we generally waive the fees, so no,
50.
we're not gonna waive the fees.
60.
I'm not gonna amend my motion.
Yeah, Good with that here.
Okay. Then no amended motion. Ah,
You did not, to my knowledge, you did not waive the fee for milk room.
We have, it hasn't come
we
up
haven't
yet.
got there.
Hasn't come up yet.
No, for the 300 concerts.
But for the 300th concerts,
No, you're right.
you waived them for the 300, all Friday concerts.
That's 300. Push that to no end to waive the fee. Sheila did sit right there in that damn chair and said, ask for it.
Okay, but you're saying that's not a nonprofit, and the 4th of July committee sought out baked for their event. So shouldn't that be exempt as well? That's the only question.
And I think last 2 weeks ago when we approved the other two, I think we waived, those were approved with the fees waived for the 4th of July weekend also. So,
So if we set precedent, then I guess
Yeah,
we'll
right.
all amend my motion to waive the fee. Or we shouldn't.
Next year,
That's right.
I'll remind you. All right, so the motion is amended, and you're, moved to second.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye. And the next is for the milk room. And same, not the 4th, so July 2nd and 3rd, one-day liquor license for the milk room.
So moved.
Second.
Waiving fees.
Waiving the fee.
Thank you. Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye. Thank you. Okay. Next up is Central Tree Middle School and Naquag School driveway, making, request to make driveway a complete street.
If I may.
Yes, sir.
If I may, through the chair,
Sir.
and for Mr. Senical, I have had a conversation with Chris regarding this, so I'd just like to update on you where we are, I believe, before you get started. So back in 2014, we were authorized for the Rutland Heights earmark, the Transportation Bond Bill, Chapter 79 of the Acts of 2014. That new bond bill, there was a recent bond bill, Chapter 383 of 2020, which does reference the reauthorization of the prior one that was announced. Now, they are in the final 6 months of the current administration, and I guess for some reason they think their administration is going to change. I don't know about that. But at any rate, they believe that they will defer funding for the bond authorizations to the next administration. And like we spoke about, and I've also talked to Mr. Buckley about that part of this earmark is to design, reconstruct, restore, resurface, make improvements to roadways and sidewalks to improve pedestrian, bicycle, and school traffic, including replacement and or repair of all structures. So that will go all the way from Maple Ave to Main Street, right through the schools. The reason why it wasn't authorized back in 14 is because at that time, we had no intended use of any property. So it is suggested certainly that you get a group to convene, which you have, to establish a plan if one doesn't already exist. And they're saying if we had done any work, and I believe we did that connector that you and I spoke about prior to the authorization of the bond bill. I'm fairly confident we did that ahead of time. And that would be part of the scope, because we did discuss, or I did discuss with the engineers at the state at that time, the installation of sidewalks. So that being said, they were very helpful in this, and I think that's pretty good news. So I think we just have to present.
Sounds like great news.
Yeah, it is, and I think so
That's
too.
the line,
I think we just
so.
have to present to them the plan of the use of the property.
So, just to bring that, if I may, Madam Chair,
Please.
just to bring to the select board, Chris Senical, I am the chairman of the HPDD Review Board. That's for the Rutland Heights projects up there. And as you guys all know, you're in contract with Harbor Classic Homes to put up 142 units up on the top side of the Rutland Heights property. And we've been going through Mike Sullivan is the chair of the RDIC, and we've been going through the site plan approval process for that community, that development. And in doing this, Dick Williams is also on this board with myself and a few other people. And we're about to, this is coming down to the end, we're about to approve this site plan approval for this project. That way there, the town can close on that property. And this gentleman can go pull his permits, and away we go. So this is a great thing for the town, it's a great thing for the community in general. But in doing so, personally, here I am approving this site plan, and we're gonna, traffic's gonna go through that roadway. This is that connector from the Rutland Heights all the way out to Naquag to Main Street. And that road has been beat, it's very narrow, it doesn't really meet roadway specifications, I believe you said, Gary, and Joe Buckley also. Joe just did a big repair there a while back because it was so bad. Now, I've coached in town for 15 years, and kids going between those fields, there's no sidewalks for them, and it's a narrow road, and it's straight, so you know what that's all about, right? The police have been down there for parking problems at the Naquag fields when I was back coaching. So it's been a little bit, it's a little bit of a problem of a roadway. It's a driveway, technically.
It's really not a roadway, it's a driveway.
It's a driveway. The town owns that property, it's a town driveway for the two schools. But people use it now as path of least resistance, right? People dropping off their kids in the schools in the morning, they come up the back way. So here we are about to, approve another project that's only gonna exacerbate the existing problem. As a board, we do not feel that that's Harbor Classic Homes' problem. This is an existing situation, it's a driveway. Everybody in town's been using it forever, as long as it's been there. Particularly since we did the connector there, which was a great idea, but again, that made the whole, people coming and going, just opened up the access, which was great for the schools, but again, you discovered another problem, that's all, right? So I just wanted to bring this up to the board, because I don't know where else to go with it. I can't really go to Gary or Joe and say, fix this road. So, our hands are tied. We can't make the applicant fix this driveway that's on private property of the town. But in good conscience, we know this problem is gonna continue to become worse, and I just don't wanna see anybody get hurt up there. The kids are always up there, the young families are up there doing their thing, and then, people coming through there, so. Gary had said, when I talked to Gary about getting on the agenda, he had mentioned that he had a grant, or was very close to getting that grant to fix that road. I believe it was like 900,000 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, 900,000, 2014, the first authorization.
Yeah, so it's in the works, and he did some investigating on it when we talked a month ago, and it sounds like this thing is viable now. At this point, this is news to me tonight, which is great.
Oh, yeah, but we're gonna have to give him a report. We'll have to get him a report, what your committee says based on the...
Yes.
But let's make it very clear, this has nothing to do with the developer. As Gary said, we didn't have a plan there, so they weren't gonna spend $900,000 to fix the road to go nowhere. Well, now we have a plan, but the developer himself, it's not his problem, it's the town's problem.
Well, it is a little bit his problem, he's gotta get up there.
Well, no, he can come around Maple Ave.
Well, if I may, Madam Chair, the town's trying to market this property. The town is going to sell all this land. This is just one parcel. There's two other parcels that are still viable. And, I think you have to look at it from, what's the town gonna do here to help itself? This has been an existing problem for a long time, and we've got the opportunity to get the money from the state to do this. To me, it just sounds like it's just a win-win-win for everybody. What Gary said, this is such a game changer right now. If you're able to find the funds where it doesn't cost the town or any of it, because even if you do have the opinion that it's that developer's problem, you got two more future, or maybe 3 or 4 more future developers there. How do you deal with that right now? Who's going to share that cost right now when those people don't even exist? And that's really, to me, it's the town's responsibility. If you're the developer, you want to, and basically we're acting as a developer. The RDIC is trying to develop this property, market this property, just like a developer would privately. And that takes some level of investment. You have to put that roadway in for an industrial park if you're the developer of that industrial park. If you're the developer of 50 homes in a development, you pay for the road, and it comes up that way. So again, I'm just trying to bring this to your attention. I'm not telling you what to do. I can't tell you guys folks what to do, but this is a situation, and Gary's kind of found a home run here, I think.
Through the chair. No, if it's all grant money, it's a no-brainer, I think. But is there anything, now, if you're going down Maple, right?
Yep.
And you turn onto the road, I'm just trying to get an idea of where it's gonna be exactly. So is it up behind Central Street, or is it right there?
Where what's gonna be?
It's right behind
the
development.
Oh. The development's up the hill, so as you go up the hill,
Yeah.
towards Central Street.
Yeah.
That whole hill, physically from the pond, you know that road splits at the
Yes,
bottom?
yeah.
So on the inside of that pond, on the inside of that road, all the way up the hill to the back of Central Street property.
Okay.
That whole hill,
And
and
this is
and
the
it's on
old
the left
55?
side of that road. So you still have these two parcels down there.
25 or so acres on the top of the hill.
Okay.
The whole top of that hill. You also have you still have as you're going down the road flat coming off of Maple Ave,
Yeah.
you have the flat parcel behind Mozio's, Bill's garage there.
Right, yeah.
Then you also have the other parcel going down 56, continuing south towards Paxton.
Right.
All that's still developable property. All right, so, you know.
What's the total up there? I think it's 89 acres?
88.
88, well, the total property is 88, but that includes the lake and the watershed and everything else.
Is it typical in these type of things, if we get the grant, they put the road and they repair the road? Is there anything ever in writing to say if the developer just, directly affects the road in a negative way and would they repair
Well,
it?
quite honestly,
He's not even
Mr.
gonna use
Selectman,
it.
I don't believe the developer, in our order of conditions right now, they've agreed to this. We are not gonna allow any construction traffic through that way.
Oh, okay.
So all construction traffic for this development will come off of 56 only and up that new road that was done when they did the demolition and they redid that road up there. So they're only gonna use that access. We didn't want them coming through there, with their trucks.
Right.
The road's just not really, it's not the right thing to do for that right now. And they're gonna build that in 3 phases anyway, so, the first phase is approximately 30 to 40 units. So again, I mean, when those homes do have certificate of occupancies and people living in them, it's not a huge amount of traffic at that time, but by the final third phase build out, they have 142 units, so, it's gonna be a lot of people up there, and they're gonna use that road.
If I may. So I remember this, I fully support developing that road. I think it's been into an actual road because the amount of repairs that it needs based on the amount of traffic that it gets, I think it makes sense. I mean, there's a whole bunch of potholes out there again now, closer to Naquag, and it's crazy, and so I don't disagree with that. A couple things, can it be widened because there's wet on both
Yeah,
sides?
but you're asking the wrong people that. It's a town property, it's town land.
Okay,
It's
but-
up to
I'm not
you
sure.
folks to
I'm
figure
not
out whether it can
sure.
be wide. It's up to Joe.
So then my other question.
If I may just respond to that, Gary, I don't know, you had an engineer go up there when you worked on that value of that property. Were they talking about widening it? Was that part of that
We were
scope?
talking about widening and also adding sidewalks, so it would have to be widened
So,
anyway,
there you go.
both on the connector and all the way up
From that, where the sidewalk stops on the new side, right? On
Yeah.
the Rutland Heights side, yeah.
My other question is, this has come back periodically, this bond bill piece has come back periodically, and it's always been something different. This is the first that I had heard that we needed to show actual project-specific stuff. I thought a big piece of it was a significant amount of engineering needed to be done at the cost of the town to do. Joe, I don't know if
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gary-
I think
Gary,
I-
that's not the answer to that, I'm not sure.
I don't know what, I mean, $900,000 sounds like a lot, but to
It's
develop
not today.
that
It's
road,
not.
right? I
Remember,
would-
that's 9 years old.
Right,
8
I was
years
just
old,
gonna
so-
say,
double it.
so at what, this isn't like a freebie for the town. The town, generally for earmarks and stuff, I think the state wants to see some level of investment on the town side anyway, and then this is, like you said, 9-10-year-old earmarks, so that cost is exponentially higher now. So I just don't want anybody going into it thinking that it's a done deal and no cost to the town, because I think that there is going to be a cost to the town, and I don't know what that entails to either one of you.
And again, if I may, Madam Chair, this is a great question. We're just kind of dropping this idea out there. I don't have a plan for this. There needs to be some more work. We need to get some more, maybe update the engineering, the drawings, and update the pricing, see where the grant goes. But I think this is the path we should go down, because another path that you could do is you could make that driveway that's owned by the town a legal road. And then there's Chapter 90 money that you could get to repair that and upgrade that. But in doing that, the one thing I just caution everybody is that on that left side of the road going from Naquag down to the Rutland Heights, I believe that's not town-owned property that abuts that road, so you could be opening up new frontage for lots of personal people. And that's a whole different thing in that area.
Yeah, that could be, you're definitely going to be.
Okay, so, all of a sudden, you could be, someone could be dropping houses right along that road there, and I don't think, and there's ways to mitigate that. You can just own a little buffer outside the road, so that you own the 1 foot, 5 foot strip along the sidewalk, the 3 foot strip, whatever, so that nobody owns that, their frontage stops at the sidewalk and they can't come on the road. There's ways to mitigate that if you had to, okay? But Chapter 90 money is just another way to add, another avenue to do that. The good thing long-term about making it a public roadway is you can always get Chapter 90 to maintain it in the future. Whereas if you do this grant road, the way with the grant, you're gonna own it and you're gonna have to maintain it ultimately continuously. So that is a little bit of a burden. So again, there's a lot of factors to consider here, as a group. And by no means are we just coming in tonight saying, this is what we wanna do, sign off and let's go. By no means, I don't want anybody on this board to think that. And this information that Gary just gave me, I just found out as you did. So, but I did know of the grant. He did tell me that, but I didn't know it was still active. He was worried it wasn't. It was just gone and long gone, and we got back to ground zero here. So those are the kind of the two main paths I think we should discuss, and you as the select board should discuss. I think what's best for the town as well. I'm just giving you my opinion from where we sit, and I just didn't want this to fall on deaf ears and say, oh, it's somebody else's problem, kick the can down the road, and then nobody ever does anything with it. So I'm just coming to you tonight with the situation that it's something we should be corrected. I'm willing to help out and engage with you, do whatever we can, and Gary and Joe and Mike and even the town planner, Dave George has been in, Dick's been involved, so there's a lot of people here that are kind of behind this and are willing to do what we can do to help out, and we just, want you guys to kind of, you're the select board.
Take the ball.
You need to give us some direction, which way you think we should go.
It's not a done deal.
No, nothing's a done deal.
We did, it's not a done deal. Prices have escalated, there's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a long-term process here, and again, like I said, the build-out of that property, is years away. Okay, so it's not like there's any, the existing conditions are what they are. It's not great up there, but it is what it is, right? We've been living for 20 years. A few more years, they're gonna kill us. But, let's just think ahead here. Build a nice community that, you're talking about developing that whole hill, and then you go on the other side, it's like, talk about going over the tracks, right? Let's just clean that up too and make the whole place, it's an opportunity to make everything really, top notch, that's all.
Well, just so you know, the developer had his traffic engineer at their last meeting, and it was his opinion that right now is the time to be applying for these grants because there's all kinds of traffic, highway money out there, so.
Ton of money in the States right now.
Now's the time to do it.
Okay.
The infrastructure.
And, Gary knows whatever he needs from us, we'll get it to him.
Okay. Joe?
So, to the best of my understanding, it's not a grant, correct? It's a session law, it was listed on a session law. It's not a grant per se. We don't have to reapply.
No, it's a transportation bond bill.
Here, so it's a session law, it was written into a bill, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, just to clarify, there's no grant to reapply for, we just have to try and get our legislative group to consider funding it going forward.
That's correct. It's
Okay.
been reauthorized to go forward, but we have to get all our ducks in a row, obviously.
So chances are, clearly the cost has doubled. And the only other comment I would have is either way, whether you go to make it a town road and try and manipulate Chapter 90 funds, or you're able to get this lump sum out of the gate, you're still going to end up with frontage, and you're still going to have to take a location, because it'll have to be made a public road before you can do the construction in the first place. So you're going to have that either way.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. But you have to make, if you're gonna use Chapter 90, as you know, you're gonna.
No,
get a
but
town
even
road
if
first.
you get the grant money, it's going to end up being deeded as a right-of-way and turned over to the town, and you're still going to create frontage and have similar issues. That doesn't go away.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I just let you know that about a month ago, Sujatha, Director of Transportation, Central Mass Regional Planning, was at Planning Board and stated that Complete Streets and also Safe Streets to School has funding available, and she wants Rutland to really dig in because the money is there, and they're willing to help as much as possible.
Okay, and that answers my question then, because it does say on our agenda, complete streets and capital streets. So I was wondering if that was the proper, if it wasn't just like, let's make it a street complete, but it is that. Thank you very much. So.
And if I may, just maybe the next step is engaging an engineer. This might be a cost to the town, but again, I think there's a great value at the end of this if we can get an extraordinary amount of money to upgrade this and solve this problem, that's all.
I will say a lot of what I've been hearing from this coming out of the state and stuff, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, and through CMRPC and stuff, is more and more they want to see an investment on the town side. So they want it, before they're willing to kind of award that money, they want to see that you have the engineering done, that it's ready to go.
And shovel ready, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
And that you've made some sort of investment on your side, that it's a legitimate plan.
And I think that means it matters to you, right? I mean,
Right.
if you're the person approving this, we want to know, hey, how far have they gone with this? They've teed up, they've done some legwork here, they've got it all ready to go. Oh, if we sign off on this, it's gonna get completed.
Right.
Yeah, I can't say I blame them.
Right.
Yeah.
So just, I think we all need to be aware of that.
Well, Gary, I'd like to ask you to work together with everybody and get all of the, I know, but it sounds like you brought a big piece to the meeting tonight that I wasn't expecting. I was like, what? We can't afford to put in a road. But that helps a lot, and there's a lot of players in this. This also feeds into my, and I think again, Leah, start having the boards and commissions and everything start talking, and you have a great project. Yet, you had to come to us maybe, but this is something that we want to start seeing is some more interaction, more planning, more.
It's a movement.
It's
That's
everybody. It's everybody.
I don't want to overstep my bounds and tell someone to go fix a road. I mean, good God, that's not my position. It's not Mike's position or anybody else's here, but Gary's a great help, and thank God he's here with his knowledge.
Time out.
And Joe, these guys are all, I mean, they're behind it.
There's a lot to be said about institutional knowledge and.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's something that, you say that, and then I hear people, it's like, we start talking about sidewalks and, let's get it toward Paxton more, especially if you're going to have over 55 housing. They're not always gonna wanna head uptown, they might wanna go down the street a little bit. So, there's a lot of things to think about, and if they're even on a list and we are thinking about it, we might find that we can be adding it into a project that makes complete sense, or it doesn't make sense, but I know a lot of people have their lists, and I'd love to see this town start collating that list a bit and see if we can't be more effective and efficient. From me.
Thank you.
That's excellent. So I don't think there's anything that we need to do. We're just gonna do more work and move things along.
Get some engineering costs and
Yeah,
then
just like Dick said, I think we should look into the complete streets portion of it. Maybe they'll pay for the engineering
they'll pay for
costs.
that engineering.
We can still get the transportation.
Those costs out, see if we can get some money for that, and
Yeah, but
then bring it back to you at that point.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right. Now's the
That's
time
the
to
next
do it,
step,
so
really.
we have to
You
move
gotta know
on.
exactly what you're doing, so you can get some good pricing on it, and then you know just what you're looking down the barrel of,
Yeah.
So, alright, well, thank you for the time.
Thank
Again,
you.
we just didn't wanna kick something down the road, Mike and I were just like, hey, we gotta deal with this.
I'm tired of kicking.
Yeah, well, someone
Try
else
to get
has
the
to.
kick too.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Super, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You got written points tonight, right?
Yes, we do. Next up is ARPA expenditures. Take it away, Mr. Gary.
And we have some, yes, we do. This is just done with the ARPA committee today, and there's a couple of things, actually 4 items that were presented to the board, but as of yet not approved. I don't know if it was in the blank period, Carol, I don't know why these weren't moved forward on, but I think it's important to get these things, get them rolling, and that was obviously one with the hydrogeological analysis for groundwater modeling to actually come out with a second water source for the town. I know Mr. Buckley has the proposals and the plans to take this as he was asked to do, so I'd like to move forward on that one. We do have, and I talked to Joe briefly today about a scope of work and cost to replace windows and siding at the library and senior center. Obviously, because of the dollar figure involved, this would have to go out to bid. And that and I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong column, I'm sorry. And the water infiltration at the public safety building, this has created a lot of damage, and this has not been moved on. And I think it's very important, and certainly, Seth, if you feel you should, you can certainly address this. a tremendous amount of damage done in there, and this is down at 20,000. I don't know if that's a viable price, Seth, or is there something else we have to get for that, but I'd like to move on to that. And the last one from the old schedule are the Woodhouse building repairs, which Mr. Buckley and I did walk around and take a look at, and there are some structural problems there. There's a railing out front, there's foundation issues, there's cracks in the existing foundation.
Chimneys.
Excuse me?
Chimneys too. The chimneys are unstable.
Right, the chimney has been.
Several, there's 3.
So there's a lot of things, and I just want to, be able to move, I want the board to be able to allow us to move forward on these things to get things rolling. Those were the 4 that have been sent to the board, and as of this writing, have not been approved yet.
Could you remind us of the costs for
Sure.
these? The hydro was...
Water study is $129,000. The scope for the replace the windows and siding at the library and senior center is $30,000. The evaluation of the repairs needed at public safety is $20,000. And the Woodhouse building repairs is an estimate of $62,500.
Now, the $30,000 for the windows and siding is just to...
Design.
It's the engineering designing.
It's a create scope, so we can just put it out to bid.
And the Woodhouse repairs is the same? That's
$62,500.
That's not repairs, that's...
No, that's repairs.
That is repairs.
Yeah.
So, the senior center, if I can call it that, we're gonna spend $30,000 to have somebody tell us it needs siding and windows?
No, we know it needs siding and windows. Well, that's what I talked to Mr. Buckley about. We're gonna create the scope and put it out to bid because of the dollar amount. Do we need an engineer to tell us what kind of windows or what kind of siding to use? No. I'm gonna deal with Mr. Buckley and we'll find out on the replacement.
But the library and the community center, that's design costs to give us
library
plans
too.
and specs to replace the
Library
siding
and senior
and
center.
window. The building envelope at both places. Complete. That's the design cost.
Okay.
It says here, create a scope
Still
sketch.
includes the back of the room.
Mr. Buckley and I talked about that today, so we'll create the scope. And we'll decide.
We're gonna create the scope and spend several thousands of dollars.
For Mr. Buckley and myself to create a scope?
Well, that's what you're gonna
I think
do.
what we want to say is that we're going to table that one because you're going to come up with the...
Okay.
You're going to come up with the cost. Because you're not asking us to spend $30,000 on a scope, are you?
Yes.
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 What he said.
You were saying yes, and
That's
you were
he's saying yes.
I am saying, I
So-
talked to Mr. Buckley briefly today during our meeting, and we're gonna put together what we feel would be the right items needed to put out to bid.
Because you can go to any siding company or window place, say, hey, give me an idea what it's gonna do this, I gotta put it out to bid. They'd come in and tell you, well, you're gonna cost you $50,000 for windows and whatever for siding. Then you put it out to bid, you know what you're working with. And it costs you nothing. I mean, you don't go out to reside your own house and get a quote.
I know that. Skip, there's no sense in sitting here arguing
Oh,
about it.
okay, no,
You know
I-
what? I know what my plan is with Mr. Buckley, and that's what I like to do, is create the scope of work needed with Mr. Buckley to put out to bid.
Are we approving a scope for $30,000?
I think if you would like to see that first, while me and Joe get to sit down and talk about it, we could put that one on hold and just move.
That's what I was
on the-
asking about. You move forward, but we're putting...
Yeah.
Yes, Joe.
Yeah, table it.
Okay, so we got a grant to have someone come through and evaluate all the buildings.
Right.
Okay, that's the study. Somebody already did the study. And in the study, they flagged windows and siding at the library, they flagged windows and siding at the community center.
Mhm.
They also, if you look close enough, include some engineering and design work to get that done. We think it's in our best interest. It's a complicated public bid process, and we're looking at spending a good chunk of money. Are we going to spend a lot more than you would spend if you were siding your house? Yes, absolutely, because we have to comply with Chapter 149 and Chapter 30B, and we can't get around those laws. We're a town, and especially if we're spending public money. So the study part's all done. We're going to pay an engineer to do all the quantities and write specifications for what goes on the outside of the building. Yes, that's what the $30,000 is for. I hope that answers the question.
It did, thank you. Sorry for the confusion. But he is right, is when you're using any kind of state money, you do have to go with prevailing wage, and certain requirements have to be done. There's no way around that.
Right, we know that, we know that one, we've been educated on that one. Where does this stand with what I'm expecting is a balance of 240? Is this out of that 240?
Yeah, I think that total,
So this is not part of the 240, we still have
that
240 at the
total
end of this?
is the approved total of 1 point, total approved and proposed is 1.3.
You can see that.
The BOS approved right now is 1.1. Part of the conversation of the next issues I have will be in addition to that. So when we don't get the next allotment for 2 months, August?
I applied for it today, we should have it first of August.
First of what?
August.
Okay.
241.
What they gave us?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know, is that already been accounted for on our?
Out of that 1.1 million. Yeah, I guess I was hoping to have like a tally of, I haven't seen any updates on any of the ARPA funds or spending or anything. It's just all been verbal, and I like scurried to write down numbers and everything. So if I did my math correct, the 1, 2, 3, 4 items you just brought before us total 241.5 thousand. Was that already accounted for out of that 1.1 that
That's
we?
no, the total with that number is 1.3. The total with that number, the amount that the Board of Selectmen approved is 1.1. These additional items that I just gave you bring that total to 1.3. And you'll be getting another 1.3, correct, in August, the first
Yes.
allotment of 1.3 in August.
Yep.
But there's other things that we're here to talk about besides that, so it's probably not a good idea for you to approve that until we go through the rest of these items. But at least those have been brought forward to you, and that's what we'll be looking for in the future.
I guess sorry.
I don't
Go
know if
ahead.
this
No,
is
go,
your
go,
question.
go.
Before these 4 items, do you have a dollar figure?
1.111.
But what the balance is, we've spent.
Oh, I don't know what the balance is,
We've only spent 450,000 to date of the 1.1 million approved.
Oh, 453,683, is that still a
Yes.
viable number?
That's-
Okay.
that's
It's
within
right on
a
the
couple
spreadsheet.
thousand, yes.
453,683.24.
So that is before the 240,
Correct.
the 241.5.
That went to replace water main in Palmagussit.
A few others.
That is the Palmagussit water line, and then you have another one, that portion was spent out of contract services with public health nurse and support staff, community center staff training to serve food safely, and vaccine clinic and community support supplies. Those items come up to $453,683. Now the other, I guess I shouldn't say that, because the snow and ice deficit,
200,000.
and the other items, that was a total of 331, I believe, so you've got about 800,000 out of the initial 1.3, is that correct?
Yes, 'cause we haven't spent it yet. It'll be at the close of this week. It'll be spent. Yes.
And what was that total?
303,292.37.
Yeah.
And the total spent out of the original allotment?
It was only 450.
No, but with that, after this, before it's up.
5, 6, 7, 760.
8 to 8.
800.
Yeah.
Move forward a little bit, Carol, you want to?
Yeah, I guess I still don't know what we're talking about. I mean, I know what these 4 budgets are, but, the 4 items are.
4 that have not been approved yet?
Everything that's been promised, say, everything that's been approved, everything that's been promised, do you have a number after that? That if we wanted to, we're looking at things today.
Yep.
To spend, what's our
So
budget?
if you approve these 4 that are in front of you, you'll have spent 1.35.
Can I have it the other way around? How much money do I have left to spend?
Oh, right now, 500,000.
Thank you. Does that help you?
Because these other items weren't done yet, correct?
Correct.
They're approved but not completed.
And some items that were approved at a dollar amount were approved up to a certain dollar amount, and at the close of this fiscal year, that number can be adjusted lower as well, so it'll be money turned back as well.
So, the 500,000 that we have left includes the 303 that we already approved but hasn't been spent.
Correct.
Appropriated.
No,
Is
no,
that
no,
by
the 500,000 is left after the 300.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Sorry,
No.
I need visual. I think it's late and yeah. My only other comment, question, and this is a conversation I think that comes before the board periodically, is the amount of money investing in the building on Glenwood Road and the long-term use. We know there's money sitting in the article for a potential senior center study, and if we're going to continue to put money into that, what's the cost benefit of that, and what's the longer-term plan, knowing that we need space for seniors and or recreation and everything. I don't want to just continue to put, Band-Aid that building if it's really not functioning as it should for anybody.
So you don't mean functioning as a building but as a space?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
I
hear you.
I don't have an answer. It's just, we keep kind of throwing nickels and dimes at it, I kind of feel like, and not having a real plan for, it's going to be a dedicated senior center, and then we need to look at it with a different mindset, or we're going to invest in a senior center dedicated for seniors, built for seniors, whatever, and then that may be default back to community use, and that might look a little bit different than if it were specific to seniors. And that's my only, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we need a clear vision of what
Yeah, I would imagine though that the envelope needs to, unless we're going to raise the building and be done with the building, the envelope needs to be fixed. So
right,
and so for this, I think, but I completely understand.
Yeah.
And this is part of what I was saying. Everybody's got their lists. We need to start consolidating or collating that list. Yes.
So that building's used by a lot more people than the building that you're thinking about spending $62,500 on. Because that building is pretty much closed most of the time. It's used by a 501c3. I realize it's a town building, and I understand. However, that's not used by the public. That doesn't offer anything except for the 501c3. So just keep that in mind. We don't get any meeting room space. We don't get to have, the public doesn't really go into that building in general. It's been closed for a long time.
No, she's talking about Wood's studio.
Oh.
Wood's house. Wood house.
Christmas and the 4th of July.
Right.
Joe? And then I'll get to you, Peter.
The only thing, in that same study I mentioned earlier, there are references in that document that speak to use of town space, town-wide, and how we have a lot of wasted space and how we may want to proceed. So they looked at, the study looks at both cost of operating a facility and what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's information in that document about that. I can try and cherry pick it out and send it along, or you could maybe have a look at it.
Yeah, I think it's time to look at it again.
I would just take advantage of it. Somebody already did a lot of the work.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Absolutely. And I probably should have it every single, it's like a little handbook every time that we meet. Tom, this is the document that I mentioned to you. We were over the office a little bit, so I don't know if you've been able to pull it. Tamika, do you know where that document is? That Joe is referencing, the long document of all the buildings?
The hard copy document?
No, just the electronic.
I can look for it.
If you can look for it. And
I think it's on the town administrators. I think it's on the town administrators page.
All right,
I believe.
Then we'll just get it for you, Tom, or you can grab it from there. Peter, did you have?
Just to mention the Wood House. Just a couple of things on that. It has been used for many open houses for the 300th over the course of this year. It was donated in 1975 by the descendants of Franklin T. Wood, who was an artist whose art is featured in the Smithsonian. So this is a very, in a sense, it's an historic asset to the town, as well as the Wood Studio behind it. And there have been a lot of repairs that have been deferred for many, many years, probably a good decade, I believe, at least, that need to be seriously addressed in order to maintain it. And we would hate to see a building like that fall into further disrepair.
Thank you. Thank you. Your recommendation is to bring the new opera
Yeah, I have,
information to us?
I have recommendations for
Or should we
three
keep
more.
these, since we've already talked about these before, do you want to divide it up? Or do you want it,
The three that I have to bring to you? Or I'd like to divide
or
it up.
do you want us to put it with this 4 others? Or do you
No,
want
I
us to
think
make
that,
a motion on
I
these?
think, I know Seth said there's roughly $500,000 left that aren't expended, but the totals of what I'm gonna bring you now, plus the totals that have to be expended, really, all of it's not available till the next allotment.
No, I
You
think
agree
that it, I
with
think it's
what I have?
available.
No, the 3 you have now, we'll have enough to cover.
Yeah, right now, but let's go through the whole list.
Yep.
So we can see, so everybody can see what we're talking about, okay? Because there's only 3 more items I'd like to bring forward. And the first one's a small one because we were able to put some money into the senior pantry for senior nutrition to help the seniors out from CARES Act last year, $4,000, and we're looking for $2,000 for the senior pantry.
What does that
And that's
entail?
for the senior nutrition program, which we stock that, correct me if I'm wrong, we just stock that and give the seniors a chance to purchase things.
Yeah.
Fresh vegetables.
I shouldn't say purchase, they take things from the pantry, correct?
Yep.
Nutrition-based. The next thing is, we've talked about at the last meeting, and that was for the opportunity for perhaps, as you know, with ARPA funds, and premium pay. We did talk about that. We went through the process, the ARPA committee, also with the treasurer and accountant, and to do that with everybody, all town employees, different rates for different departments, obviously, for different reasons. It comes to $167,000, which the last meeting that we talked about this, we had $224,000 available just based on expenditures and approved projects to date. So we were looking for $167,000, I'm sorry, and I do have a ledger with all the rates and to whom, which is all town employees, and under the title of premium pay, which, as you know, that is stated in the ARPA long book, if you will. So that we would be looking for approval for. And the last one, based on a meeting with the ARPA committee today, is looking for $10,000 to hire a consultant to fill my position permanently. And that's what I have for you tonight. Just say unused.
Okay, so we have 7 pieces that we want to look at.
This money you're putting out, does it cover all the union people, or is this?
Everybody, all town employees that have
Nothing to do with union contracts or anything like I
No, it
heard
wasn't
earlier?
used for, no, it was not used as a negotiating chip. No.
Okay.
Gary, you and I talked earlier. Did you have a moment to speak with Seth about the
I
question?
did.
You did?
And I did, and I did talk to Seth, I mentioned it about an MOU, because it's not part of a union contract, so I think we both agreed that there's no MOU needed for employees to receive a bonus.
Okay, thank you.
This is for credible service in the past. This is not going forward in a contract.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a one-time deal.
All right, folks.
Oh, you
That's
have
the
that.
item we're talking
Yeah, I
about
wasn't
right
sure that I sent it to everybody, but you have
Yeah,
that.
I do. I just have one question through the chair. How did you determine the amounts? How did you break down the amounts?
Initially, it was going to be a percentage of the.
No, I understand that, but how did you determine, I noticed police and dispatch are 3 and fire is 4.
Fire is 4 because fire has been required to respond to every medical emergency during the crisis, whereas police were not.
Well,
I know. And
neither was dispatch.
I do have.
So no offense to dispatch, but police responded, I responded to a lot of calls for fire.
Okay, I have,
So
I have.
I'm just curious as to the breakdown of the
Okay, it was all
categories.
agreed upon with the ARPA committee, we discussed it today and went accordingly, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, based on what they did and what they had to do.
I do have.
We lost an officer, that's what I'm saying, to COVID. I mean, we were there.
Understood, and
Yeah.
I also have a letter saying that I have a letter stating that police will not be responding to medical emergencies due to the untimely passing of. I have that, Tom. I just didn't. Want
No, I know. I responded to many calls next to firefighters, and I think it's a slap in the face to the police. That's all. I just want to be on record saying that.
Police was part of the meeting today, and it didn't appear to be a slap in the face to him.
Who's that, Nick?
Yeah, the ARPA committee was Nick, Seth, Joe, Becky, myself,
Nancy.
Nancy Nichols.
I do have a couple of questions on the line items. So, under general government, and it's probably the answer to it is the BOH inspector. He has no average hours listed, and it came up with 1,500. So I'm just looking at anomalies in the sheet that I have. What are you looking?
I know sometimes I have a hard time.
I know you have a
I'm
hard
sorry.
Did you hear me?
I hear you now.
I talk soft.
Yes, you do. So does Tamika. Did she say anything tonight? No.
No.
Okay, can I, what was the question again?
The question is, as I've highlighted a couple of pieces that don't fit the formulas that are here, and one of them is the Board of Health Inspector, who you have no reported average hours per week, which is how you've determined. So
Right,
the
and I think he's
first
done
group, general government, was $1,500 for 40 hours. So if you divide that out, it's $37.50 per average hour worked.
Yeah, and I did ask that question, Carolyn, because there are no average hours worked by the Board of Health Inspector, but to do with the COVID vaccines and everything that had to be put in place through the period, we just left them under the general government classification.
Okay. The next is Highway Department, why the admins aren't receiving the 2,000. They got bumped down to 15.
Non-union,
No.
right? Non-union?
That's what it says, non-union, but
what's on this
they're in
report.
the department.
They
So
are
I-
part of the, you're absolutely right. They're
So
part of
everybody
the
else is getting
department.
2,000, and the non-union admins are getting 15.
Okay, we have to look at somebody else that's non-union, I guess, to make sure.
But why is the non-union being
They
different?
were eligible to work from home. DPW employees were not. That was the reasoning.
Okay, I need to hear these things.
Yep.
We had them come in and work, they did work through the whole pandemic. They did a lot of work from home remotely, but they'd come in into the office only a couple days a week.
If I'm going to approve this, I
It's
just
fair
want to
enough.
be able to
Yeah.
show my face.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with non-union versus union. It was based on
Okay,
risk
because
exposure.
it says non-union, and that's why. So, thank you. A couple more. I guess those are the anomalies, like I said, that didn't fit the math. So, anybody else have any about this, and then we're gonna look at the others.
Okay, there's none down here on this list for Kelleher, so you know.
No, they were mine either.
You weren't here.
What, through the pandemic?
Him?
Oh, I said my name.
I was somewhere.
Your name, I know.
I was somewhere, Carol.
You came here.
I was there every, behave. There's cameras on me.
Were those, did your concerns get
Yeah,
addressed?
I mean, yeah, it is what it is. So.
And just,
What's that
because Tom's name is on here and his wife's name's on here, he will be abstaining from the
So
vote,
we're-
but I
we're
thought
gonna
he could
say-
be part of the discussion.
15.
All right.
Do you have any about this one, and then we'll move on to the two other new ones?
See, I don't have it in mine.
I mean, I had asked at one point to bring forth payment for Seth as emergency management director, to, when Ron was here, to take it forward, because of, and I don't think that was ever, so I was looking to
No, it's
see.
not on there.
So I would like to still have that move forward.
So if we want to add ARPA, will you please do that on our behalf at the next meeting?
If you want to add to
Add
it,
add to an ARPA line item that we would like to. We've already brought it up before, we've talked about it before, and that is.
but not to do with this?
Not to do with that, but.
Okay,
But
all right.
will remind us. It's just a follow-up and a follow-through that never happened before.
So is nothing that I know about at this time?
Nope.
Okay. I'll remind you about
But
nothing I know
remind me,
about.
when you're emailing Karen to remind you to call, you can, yeah, anyway. In the senior pantry, is there any questions about that?
I think,
Still understand it, but.
I think last year they had gotten some, was it CARES money that they used?
Yes.
To bring in the fresh fruits and vegetables on like Fridays for distribution or something. And so, and I think it was very well received.
Very well.
And so I think that they're hoping to continue that, but obviously the CARES money is done, so they're looking for.
In just the general price increase in food costs, we wanted to accommodate for that as well.
We doubled it because of market conditions.
Yeah. I do think that we should continue to look for grant opportunities to fill these needs also. Not you guys, but just as a point that we know that there's a need, and so.
You got help now. Do we want to do these, all 7 line items as a slate, or do we want to do them individually? Skip.
Carol, if I may,
Yeah.
I wouldn't just this time ask for the same.
So we have to,
So
okay.
we would at least wanna do
You
that
can do all but that
separately,
one.
yeah.
Or we could do all but that one?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Skip, you usually like slates, is why I. What do you think?
Where am I looking? I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Leo, do you want to make a?
A motion to approve, is it okay to do the slate of 6 and then separate out the pay? Is that?
My computer couldn't.
So I'll make a motion to approve the first, the full round of 6, which would be the hydrogeological study, the windows and siding, the work at public safety, the Woods House, the senior nutrition, and the TA search firm.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call?
Whitman, aye.
Galvin, aye.
Reluctant aye.
Benoit, aye.
And then I'll make a motion to approve the additional town employee hazard pay.
Second.
Roll call?
Clock eye.
Galvin abstain.
Whitman, aye.
And Benoit, aye. Thank you very much.
Leo, if you, I'm sorry, not through the chair, Leo, would you repeat the 4 that I think you said the first time, just so I wasn't marking them on my paperwork for the first motion?
It was 6. The hydrogeological
Okay.
study, the windows and siding,
Yeah,
the public safety work,
okay,
the Woods House, the senior nutrition, and the TA search firm. And then the last, and that total should be roughly 250, I lied, 253.5.
okay.
And then the additional pay was the last one, and that was roughly 167.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up is liquor license transfer. This was brought to my attention when Tamika had request in the office, and we have no fee associated with transferring liquor licenses. So whether we just don't get the request or we've been doing it gratis, Tamika and I talked, and I asked her to go and look and see what type of legwork needed to be done, compare that with other fees, and to come up with a reasonable fee, and she has suggested $200, and we have somebody that wants to be doing this now. And I think I asked you as well, are they okay with holding pattern until we figure it out, and they are. So what we'd like to do is to institute a new fee for liquor license transfers for $200.
So moved.
Waitman seconds. I have a
Sure.
just what I mean, I know that there's a lot of, it's like work the town, you would have to do on ABCC and everything, right? Like that, it's
very similar to if somebody was getting a new license. There's maybe like a couple fewer things that they have to do, but it still essentially goes through the same process.
And I don't know, remember off the top of my head, what is the new license fee?
So it depends on what it is. It's anywhere from $750 to $1,000.
Okay.
But where the license has already been established and the applicant had already paid that fee initially, it just didn't seem quite right to charge the full amount. With a transfer, you don't have to notify abutters, so there is a cost savings in sending that out. You do still have to publish in the paper, but that's only about $50 or so, and then staff time, essentially, and then sending it out to the ABCC.
Yeah.
I chose $200 just because that's the fee that ABCC charges on their end, and really hadn't been charging anything before. It seemed a little bit more reasonable, but of course it's completely at the discretion of the board if you guys feel that that's not sufficient.
Yeah.
For what you think,
Well, I think it's set in wet cement right now, and we could revisit when we may not get another one for a very long time.
Well, that's the thing.
But
I don't think it's a transaction that's going to come up very much, so
Right.
I don't know that it's going to be.
But if it does, and we think 200 is way too high, way too low, we can revisit that.
I just was curious as wanting to make sure that we're at the very least making even on the fees that we have to put out to cover everything that's required. And so, I don't think any of us are, get rich on the fees. But we wanted to make, I wanted to make sure that everything is minimally
Because the only fee outside staff time, which obviously you're paying anyways, is really just the publication in the newspaper. Like I said, you don't need the abutter notices. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but there really isn't. And
because they would pay directly to ABCC the transfer fee anyway.
Right, they pay that directly through their website and just provide us proof that they actually paid that, and then they pay us separately through our Viewpoint system. So that's kind of where we're at, and it just felt like they're only 6 months into the license that the restaurant paid $1,000 for 6 months ago. So that was just my thought process. But of course, whatever you guys think is I
think it's a great starting point. All right, a roll call vote.
Thanks.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit, aye. All right, Mass Tree Holdings. Apparently, we have a host community agreement certification form that has not been signed.
Right, and you have that in your, file. So as we discussed at the agenda meeting, I have reached out by the telephone number and the person's name and haven't gotten an answer. So to answer your question regarding 2 mailing addresses, I don't have that because I haven't gotten a call back. If I get that, I should say, I'll certainly let you know. But it's not an amendment, as we talked about, that it's just something that has to be forwarded on. And it was brought to the board to see if the chair wanted to sign it or.
So either we can sign it, or I can sign it, or we can give authorization.
Make a motion that chair signs it.
And just a little further explanation, when I was looking at the contracts that we had for Mass Holding, one of them had a Delaware address and the other one had some Massachusetts address. So I thought, how can one company be doing in 2 places? So we're just trying to figure out where that belongs. But I don't think it has anything necessarily to do with this.
And is this the cultivation manufacturing?
They've got one for both, I think.
Okay.
That's That's
All right.
correct. If I may, so the folks that are running the business, or that are starting it, are not from around here. And now that things have progressed to the point where they are relocating up here. So that is why I surmise that there's probably 2 addresses. But the person that I've been working with has been very communicative and responsive, so I'm certain he'll clarify that for us. But essentially, they just need this document to give to the CCC, confirming that they have this with the town.
Perfect.
So I think Skip made the motion. I'll.
Second.
Oh, okay.
Clark, aye.
Calvin, aye.
Whitman, aye.
Benoit, aye. There you go. Next is FY 2023 reappointments. Do we have appointments in there too, Tamika?
That list is inclusive, so they're either appointments or reappointments, and each one tells you the term and the expiration date. And it also identifies the person's number.
So this year, I had suggested that it would be good, rather than having the letter of interest and the recommendation from the chair and all the individual different papers given to us, because it was crazy, and Tamika has taken care of that behind the scenes, and everything's on, I think, Google Drive, you said. So she has given us just a sheet with all the information on it. That said, can you recommend how we would want to move with?
In years past, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've done it as a slate by the board or commission. And in the motion, you've stated to reappoint X people for this term.
Okay.
But I think doing it by board or commission is probably
Okay,
the
so we
easiest
can
way to go.
see that if it says yes, letter of interest, and yes, recommendation from the chair.
Yes,
they're
because
good
you
to
are going to find there are several that don't have that, and so
Okay.
that would be at your discretion if you still
Okay.
move forward.
So I think that we could do the AgCom as a slate, by the looks of it. If anybody wants to make a recommendation.
I'll make a motion that we appoint AgCom as the slate presented. Do you want me to read everything, or can I just say it as the slate presented?
No, I mean, if you guys do feel that the expiration dates need to be in the motion, or I don't know that that's really required, that it has to be in there, but it's up to you.
I mean, it's
in years
It's
past
on
you
the
have,
page,
but
so if we just say according to, as
On
written.
the
as
document.
written, that's,
Yeah,
let's
as
do
written.
that.
And I'd just like to make a note. I think Skip seconded me that there is a vacancy on AgCom still. So if anybody's watching and interested, there's a vacancy.
And that was seconded, and
Yeah.
roll call?
Clark, aye.
Calvin, aye.
Whitman, aye.
Benoit, aye. CIPC,
Motion by, as presented on our document. 2 members in CIPC.
Second.
roll call?
Clark, aye.
Calvin, aye.
Whitman, aye.
Benoit, aye.
Conservation Commission,
Conservation, yep, you can keep going.
appointed as documented on paper.
Whitman second. I think there's also a vacancy on Concom. It's not listed here. Is that correct still?
Mm-mm. No, there isn't.
I
Yes,
thought there is.
Mitch's seat,
What?
Mitch's seat is still available.
The problem is,
We do have a 7th spot.
We were gonna, okay,
No, that, you're thinking open space and
so much.
all right, that
Yeah.
was, okay. Lost
Anyway.
my-
Okay, cable advisory, we cannot
Do
do.
we need to vote on?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
on that yet.
Clark, aye.
Calvin, aye.
Whitman, aye.
Benoit, aye. Let me get out of here. Cable advisory committee doesn't look like they have recommendation, so we'll skip that. Earthworks,
I make a motion to accept as written, Earthworks Board.
Second.
roll call?
Clark, aye.
Calvin, aye.
Whitman, aye.
I make a motion to accept as written, Economic Development Commission
With 1 vacancy.
with 1 vacancy.
It says
Second.
roll call?
Clark, aye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, aye.
I'm gonna skip 300th. I think they're end of charge anyway, so,
They are, yes.
yeah.
I thought that they were through this calendar year at least, because I know that they're still planning events, like the
It's,
museum on Main Street and stuff. And I think Sandra's taking over the Concerts on the Common stuff from Jeff. That's why I think.
Yeah, it's
She is.
supposed to be end of charge, because it wasn't necessarily going
Oh,
to end at
to
the
end of charge.
Right, not necessarily to the end of the calendar year.
But
But
we're
we don't
still
have-
waiting
right, we don't have
for
the
the chair,
recommendation, yes.
so,
That's fine.
Sorry.
we're skipping that. 4th of July,
I make a motion to accept 4th of July committee as written. One vacancy.
Second,
roll call,
clock eye.
Galvin aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit aye.
I make a motion to accept zoning board of appeals as written.
Second,
Is there anything I should,
Zoning board of appeals is a little bit confusing.
Yes.
So, I spoke with Anita to try to find the best way to do this, and the situation is that Rick Surratt's term expires on June 30th. However, he is going to vote on the South Tower matter just because of it's 7 months in the process. It's unlikely that that's going to be wrapped up by July 1st. So we're going to, we are proposing that he be appointed for just a 1-month extension, so that he then doesn't have to come back and resign. And at the end of his extension on June 30th, Jacob Morris would then become the full member that would be taking Rick's seat, because he's currently an alternate member right now.
and Jacob Morris is okay with that?
Yes,
And Rick wants to come off.
Rick, yes,
Yes,
Rick
he
does
does.
not want to continue to serve once the cell tower matter is resolved. And the ZBA has already voted for Jacob to then become the full member in Rick's place at that time. So this one, we might want to vote specifically including those terms
Yeah.
in there, if the board is comfortable with that.
Well, I think you have it stated here also.
You do, I
Yes.
think it's clear now that,
good as,
I
good
think
up on
it's-
the document, yeah.
yeah, so according to the document. So we, roll call,
Clock eye.
Galvin aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit aye. Council on Aging will skip.
I make a motion to accept for the historical commission as written with one vacancy.
Second,
Roll call,
clock eye.
Galvin aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit aye.
I make a motion to accept insurance advisory commission as written with one vacancy.
Second,
And it's the patrolman's representative that's vacant, correct?
yeah.
There was a second, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Second, yeah. I'm moving it.
So
Yeah, you're getting tired.
why is there no letter of interest?
So this is a committee that is basically charged by Becky. So she wrote essentially a letter on behalf of the entire committee that's made up of town employees.
So she reaches out to them and
Correct.
confirms that they're.
Yes,
that
and then
they
I
have-
had uploaded an email to the drive stating from her that yes, all of these parties are interested. There was a resignation, or the person that was serving as the DPW rep is no longer with us, so she did find a replacement for him. And then a police officer had resigned, and she did not have a replacement for him, so that's why there's no vacancy.
Okay, thank you. Roll call,
Clock eye.
Galvin aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit aye.
I make a recommendation to accept Memorial Day commission as written.
I did not hear
No?
from one person on that committee, so,
There's nobody,
no, I didn't hear from
Do I mix it
anybody.
all up? or-
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't have anybody right now.
RDIC,
RDIC. I make a motion to accept RDIC as written.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
roll call,
Clock eye.
Galvin aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit aye.
May I make a oh,
No, no,
no?
we haven't heard back from solar people.
Okay. That's out. Ethics?
Ethics liaison,
Well,
Not happy.
what, do you wanna go back to the solar?
I forgot, we had Dick's letter, but we didn't have the chair's letter, so I apologize, that was my fault.
Ethics, nothing.
Ethics, can you tell us the NANA on the ethics with Anita?
That's
Because that's
automatic.
just
Just
automatic,
automatic?
yeah, that's,
Okay,
yeah.
great, thank you. As soon as I
Municipal
switch
hearing
to-
officer.
So
Same thing.
we do need to do ethics commission.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion to accept ethics commission liaison as written.
Wait a minute, seconds.
Any discussion?
Clock eye.
Roll.
Galvin aye.
Wait a minute.
And the same thing with,
I make a motion to accept municipal hearing officer as written.
Second,
Roll call?
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Wait a minute,
Benoit, aye?
Town administrator.
we can't do that one, can we? Because, Gary, are
Do
you,
you have a CPO?
I'm sorry. I was looking for something and I just,
Are you qualified to
Do you,
that?
do you have a CPO
no,
license?
no.
So we
Joe
can't do
Buckley
that.
is.
What are we doing? What are we doing for these things that need a CPO?
Go to Joe Buckley certified.
What do you want me to do?
Have you been doing
Have you
it?
been signing off on things? If we need a CPO, have you been handling that?
I reviewed a couple, expensive things, yep. But all of them, no. You mean, you're certified purchasing official, is that,
Right.
I thought that the work at home town administrator was supposed to be fulfilling this until the end of his term, if needed.
I think we didn't have a clear answer on who in town had that, but that does sound. I'm just wondering if we should ask Mr. Buckley if he would like to fill this position. We need a chief procurement officer. You're the only one in town that has that license. We'll get back to you.
yeah, no, it's all right. I just want to figure out how we talk to the.
Yep. We'll table that one
Yeah.
and come back. Thank you. Constable.
I make a motion to accept constable as written with one vacancy.
Wait a minute, seconds.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Wait a minute.
Desire to put in for that job.
Seal, what is that? Sealer?
Sealer of weights and
Weights and measures. Make a motion to accept sealer of waste and measures as written. Excuse me, weight and
Second.
measures.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Wait, do we have a second?
Yeah.
Skip.
Oh,
Skip
sorry.
said it.
You didn't hear it, just write my name second.
Just gonna
Somebody
do
get
it.
rid of this.
And roll call.
Wait a minute.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Benoit, aye. Yes, sir.
When you go into an executive session to discuss some other matters, can we briefly review that then? Thank you.
As long as the board approves, agrees.
Yeah, agree. We all agree.
Veterans Grave Officer.
Where are we now?
Veterans Graves Officer.
Make a motion to appoint Veterans Grave Officer as listed.
Second.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit, aye. ADA Coordinator. She hasn't said yes.
We haven't gotten a letter yet, right?
No, I never heard from him.
Okay. CMRPC delegates.
I didn't hear from Tim.
Okay.
But
So the primary delegate is appointed by the planning board,
Right.
which is Dick.
and so he's already been done.
He's
so
already
then-
been appointed.
Yes.
This would just be for the alternate. Tim expressed interest verbally at a meeting, but had not provided a letter.
That's fine. Okay. Got it. Sorry.
Stormwater Advisory Committee.
Stormwater advisory committee as printed. Employment of.
Wait a minute. Second.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Wait a minute.
Benoit, aye. We don't have any WCRTA.
This one's been vacant for quite a while, so anybody that's interested, that's the Worcester County Regional Transit Authority representative, so anybody that's listening that's interested, I think we haven't,
I feel like that's been vacant forever.
I think, yeah, so. And
We'll
I think,
put together a list of all the vacancies.
yeah,
and make sure.
but I think often that's like a select board member or a select board like designee, and I think we just haven't had the capacity the past few years. Ron was gonna take it on at some point, because he used to attend those meetings, but I don't know that he ever did. Like, I don't know.
Healthcare benefits consultant.
Make a motion to accept healthcare benefits consultant as written.
Second.
Is this the one, Becky? I mean,
Yes.
yes. Okay.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna choose the rest of it.
And we don't have somebody for that, so.
Oh, you're
It
going.
was you.
Did I say yes? I don't think I said yes. I said,
I did not. No, not this year.
Not this year, I did not say yes.
All right, so the Wachusett Earth Day is also open.
So we'll,
And I,
and that's
So we
a,
can
that's a
appoint-
board, that's a board appointment, so. Let's table that for tonight.
Yep.
Just time is, we still have to go in executive.
I'll make a motion to appoint the records access officers as
Second.
listed.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye. Town accountant,
So moved.
which, I thought we did.
Second.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye. Town council.
Town council as written.
Second.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
I just had a
I think we
question.
wanted,
I just had a question. Had KP expressed interest in continuing to serve us? I know in the past they have sent like official letters that they are interested or whatever.
No, they did not, and I apologize, that's on me.
No.
I thought it was a contractual obligation, but no, they did not specifically send anything.
And maybe it is contractual, maybe it was just when we were up to renew those.
I think it's an annual contract though.
I honestly, I don't know. I didn't need to open that.
Oh.
Let's table that too, since we don't have the.
Okay.
May I rescind my vote?
Thanks. Rescind the vote, rescind the motion.
Okay.
All right, so we have a few interdepartmental transfers. What, since you have in front of them, you?
I make a motion to transfer $48.93 from account 001-210-5120-000 police full-time wages into account 001-210-5400-000 police supplies.
Second.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye.
You got the other one?
Yes. I make a motion to transfer $6,045.95 from account 001-210-5120-000 police full-time wages into account 001-210-5122-000 police wages overtime.
Second.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye.
And these all went before FinCom and
They were
approved.
last night. They're all signed.
No, I shouldn't.
Yep.
We did this one and this one. Okay, so just looking for one.
I make a motion to transfer $61.84 from account 001-210-5120-000 police full-time wages into account 143-210-5400-000 police grant account.
Second.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye. Is that it? Yay. All right. Does anybody mind if I skip goals and objectives?
Sure.
Do I have to take it?
Motion to adjourn, to go into an executive session for reason number 3, to discuss strategies, blah, 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 blah.
And we have to return to,
Return to open session.
second?
Second, sorry.
That's okay. Roll call.
Clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye. Okay, so I'm reopening the June 27, 2022 Select Board meeting. It is 9:45 p.m. And the purpose of reopening is to vote on our executive session articles. Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve,
It's upside down still.
DPW.
Michael Marad, contract,
Second.
Roll call.
clock eye.
Galvin, aye.
Whitman, I.
Benoit, aye.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. We sign this one, yeah?
The whole board sign or just the chair?
I'll make a motion that the board sign the DPW contract.
1 year.
1 year union contract.
Second.
Clock eye.
Galvin aye.
Whitman, aye.
Benoit eye?
I'll make a motion that the board sign the fire department's 3-year union contract.
Second.
Roll call?
Clock eye.
Galvin aye.
Whitman, aye.
Motion
Thank you.
adjourned.
Joe, second. Whitman seconds.
Roll call?
Clock eye.
Galvin aye.
Whitman, aye.
Benoit eye?
Gentlemen, nice job.